Welcome to 90 Day Digest, the series where I sit through each week's 90-day episode and break it down so that you don't have to. All the drama, the romance, and none of the wasted time. On tonight's episode, we will be discussing Season 8, Episode 8 of Before the 90 Days, titled, For Your Safety, Please Remain Seated. If you haven't seen my recap for the previous episode, feel free to click the link in the description below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. We are back with Rick and Trisha, and they are living their best life on a boat, taking selfies with lemurs. It is all very cute until the conversation turns to the one thing that ruins every vacation on this show: kids. Rick starts talking about how much he misses his children and how excited he is for Trisha to be a stepmom. But Trisha pumps the brakes. She reminds him that being a stepmom is nice, but she wants a baby of her own. Rick gives the classic non-answer. He says he isn't ready to make that decision right now. But in his confessional, he tells us the real reason. He is terrified to promise her a baby because he knows he still hasn't told her that he cheated on her with his ex in Colombia. He figures, why plan a nursery when she might dump me next week? Later, they head to a beach for a fish fry, and they start prepping for the big family meeting. Rick asks what kind of questions her parents will ask, expecting the usual interrogation. But then Trisha drops a massive bomb. She reveals that Rick is actually 1 year older than her father. And does her father know this? Absolutely not. Trisha has hidden everything. Her parents don't know his age. They don't know he has been married twice, and they don't know he already has kids. She basically described Rick to her parents as a blank slate, when in reality, he has a whole history book attached to him. Then comes the ultimatum. She tells him that if he tells her parents he doesn't want more kids, he will definitely not get their blessing. So now Rick is in a bind. He has to lie to her father about wanting babies, while simultaneously planning to tell Trisha he cheated on her. Rick tells us he plans to drop the cheating confession before they meet the parents. So, we are officially on a countdown to destruction. This man is walking into a minefield blindfolded. We check back in with Laura and Birkan, fresh off their fight at the glass workshop. They are heading to a cafe to meet Birkan's friends, Memo and Tugba. But the tension is still thick. Laura is furious about Birkan's demand that she cut off her best friend Michael. Birkan doubles down. He hits her with the "men know men" line, insisting that Michael has romantic feelings for her. He is absolutely convinced Michael is in love with her. And honestly, after seeing Michael cry in the first episode, he might have a point. But Laura pushes back and suggests Birkan FaceTime Michael to clear the air. Birkan shuts that down immediately. He is not interested in diplomacy. He wants total control. They arrive at the cafe, and Laura realizes something strange. Birkan knows everyone. He has a regular table. He sits there drinking tea and smoking hookah almost every day. Laura is looking at him like, wait, you have $50,000 in debt, no job, and yet you spend all day at a cafe? It is not adding up. Then Memo and Tugba arrive, and things get spicy. Laura asks them to tell her something she doesn't know about Birkan. At first, they give the generic, he looks tough, but is sensitive answer. Corny. But then Memo drops a hint. He mentions an unknown side to Birkan and asks Birkan if he can tell her. And here it is, folks. The secret behind the debt. We find out Birkan is a gambling addict. He admits in his confessional that he gambles every single day. He even calls it what he does for a living. Sir, if your living put you $50,000 in the hole, you are not making a living. You are making a donation. He says he turns to gambling when he can't find work, which seems to be all the time. His friends, to their credit, tell him he needs to confess. Tugba warns him that waiting will only make Laura's reaction worse. But Birkan just sits there with a smug grin, translating nothing, leaving Laura completely in the dark. Laura knows something is wrong. She sees them whispering. She sees the looks. And she realizes he is hiding something major. Memo tries to cover for him by saying, Birkan doesn't like pressure. Oh, he doesn't like pressure? Well, he is about to feel a whole lot of it when Laura finds out her fiancé isn't just broke. He is actively gambling away their future. This guy is a walking red flag factory. We are back with Jovon and Annaline at the resort, trying to recover from that mess of an argument about his ex and her calling his sister. Jovon realizes he is in the doghouse, so he offers a truce so they can actually enjoy the honeymoon. Annaline agrees to a fresh start, but you can tell the trust is thin. They go out on a pedal boat, have some drinks, and then Annaline decides it is time for an inspection. She demands to see his phone right there at the bar to prove he actually cut off his ex like he promised. Jovon hands it over. She scrolls through it, and she finds nothing. He actually kept his word. But then, Jovon opens his mouth in the confessional and ruins any goodwill he just earned. He looks at the camera and says, quote, "Most women only act right when they think they can be replaced." He says a little bit of fear is healthy. This is exactly what Annaline was worried about. He is parroting that toxic alpha male podcast rhetoric. He is literally gloating about emotionally manipulating his wife into behaving by making her afraid she will lose him. That is not a marriage. That is a hostage situation. Later, they skip dinner and go straight to dessert. But the mood is sour. Annaline tries to take a cute photo, but she tells him he looks miserable. He says that is just his face. Then she brings up the fact that he forgot their second anniversary. And his excuse? He says he works too hard to remember dates, unlike her, who just sits at home. Sir, do you not have a calendar app on that phone you just showed her? Being employed does not erase your memory. Annaline tries to explain that she needs words of affirmation and physical touch. She wants romance, and Jovon drops the line of the night. He tells her that keeping the lights on is romantic. He truly believes that paying the electric bill is a form of seduction. He thinks because he provides financially, he doesn't have to be nice, vulnerable, or sweet. Annaline starts crying because she is realizing they are completely incompatible. She wants a partner. He wants a dependent who obeys him. When she cries, he asks why she is being emotional, rolls his eyes like a child, and says, "I can never do anything right." Annaline finally says she doesn't want anything from him anymore. And honestly, seeing how he treats her, I don't blame her. We catch back up with Forrest and Sheena the morning after their first night at her parents' house. Forrest is still reeling from the whiplash. Remember, Sheena told him her parents were terrible monsters who were stealing his money. But now that he is there, they seem nice and rich. He confronts Sheena in the bedroom, asking if the monster thing was all an act. Sheena deflects hard. She basically tells him to shut up and be happy he got the blessing. She is clearly trying to keep the peace before the storm arrives. And speaking of the storm, here she comes. Molly and Dev arrive. Molly steps out of the car, takes one look at the property, and the alarm bells start ringing. She sees the manicured grounds, the multi-story house, and she realizes immediately that this is not a struggling family. She literally says, "They are living better than us back in the States." Molly is on a warpath. She sits down for dinner with Sheena, Forrest, Sheena's dad Steve, and her sister Katrina. Still no sign of the sick mother, by the way. Convenient. Molly starts the interrogation with a compliment. She mentions how expensive the place looks. Then she goes for the jugular. She turns to the dad and says, "We were under the impression that you were forcing Sheena to give you money." She tells them exactly what Sheena said, that they threatened her, called her names, and would make her homeless if she didn't pay up. Steve and Katrina look at her like she has 3 heads. They are completely shocked. They turn to Sheena for an explanation. And folks, Sheena cracks. She starts crying and admits she lied. She lied about everything. Her parents never threatened her. She was just bad with money, blew through it herself, and blamed it on her parents so Forrest wouldn't dump her. She threw her own family under the bus to cover up her spending habits. Molly is vindicated. She knew something was fishy. Sheena apologizes profusely, and her dad, Steve, actually saves the day. He says any money she did give them is accounted for. and they can give it back to help pay for her visa. Problem solved, right? Well, not exactly. Forrest asks for the $4,000 for the visa, and the mood shifts. Steve says they have to check their finances. In his confessional, Steve admits he is shocked that a man would ask them for money. He believes the man should provide everything. So we end with Molly relieved that the truth is out. But now she trusts Sheena even less. And honestly, can you blame her? Sheena just admitted to being a pathological liar to save face. Molly is going to be watching her like a hawk from now on. Finally, we catch up with Lisa and Daniel, and the stakes have never been higher. They are in the hotel room. Lisa is dressed in full traditional attire, head wrap and all, preparing to meet Daniel's uncle. Remember, in Daniel's culture, if they don't get the uncle's blessing, there is no marriage. Daniel literally tells us that if she can't explain her sins, meaning the vaping and her past relationships with women, he might have to dump her. No pressure, right? They meet the uncle at a nighttime cafe, and immediately, the power dynamics are set. The uncle makes them kneel before he even allows them to sit down. Then, the interrogation begins. He grills her on her faith, her drinking, and her smoking. Lisa lies through her teeth, saying she gave up smoking. Girl, you gave it up less than 24 hours ago. That is not quitting. That is a pause. Then comes the big one. The uncle asks if she is, or ever was, a lesbian. Now, the uncle already knows the answer because Daniel told him, but he wants to see her squirm. He gives her a lecture on why it's bad and demands the truth. Lisa panics and downplays it, claiming it was just a one-time fling. A one-time fling? Lisa, you are literally legally married to a woman right now. The uncle asks point blank if she is a liar. She gives the most politicians' answer ever. I have lied before, but I am not a liar. Satisfied with that, the uncle switches to his native language to tell Daniel not to disgrace the family, and he grants them the blessing. He says he is entrusting Daniel to keep an eye on her. Lisa is relieved, but she tells us she feels uncomfortable. The uncle puts so much emphasis on not lying, yet her entire presence there is a lie. She feels like her past wasn't a mistake, but she knows that if she told Daniel the full truth, that the fling is actually her current wife, he would flip his lid. She got the blessing, but she is building a marriage on a sinkhole. And that is a wrap for this chaotic episode. We had Rick realizing he is older than his girlfriend's father while hiding a secret family history. We had Birkan's friends exposing his gambling addiction while he sat there smiling about it. We had Sheena admitting she threw her own parents under the bus to cover up her spending habits. And finally, Lisa lying to a religious uncle about being a lesbian while still being married to a woman. The level of deception this week was off the charts. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Daniel's uncle suspects anything? And is there any coming back for Sheena after Molly exposed her lies? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I have a feeling the next episode is going to be the explosion we have all been waiting for. I'll see you guys next time.